Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of And Security for All. And we are live from the St. Louis CyberSecurity Conference. We're doing something new today. We are actually doing Voice America from our live show. Welcome to another episode. Super excited to be here, and sorry for the noise in the background, but that comes with the excitement of the show. I'm here with Jonathan Kimmett. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Hello, I'm very excited to be here.
You all know Jonathan he helps co-host our events. He helps co-host Voice America, and he was our keynote speaker today. So, let's just dive into it. First, before I talk about everything that's happening here, Jonathan just finished up his keynote. Jonathan, why don't you tell our audience what you talked about on your keynote today?
Well, this was a great topic, and it's something I've talked about with people before, but this is something I really wanted to get into a large crowd like this, and it was the things that a CISO doesn't want to say, even though that's what they should say, but they really do need to say it. I know I said say a lot of there, but really it's about all those things that CISOs, when they're working with people or working with leadership, working with the boards, sometimes you have to say things like no, or that is illegal, or we shouldn't do that. And you've got to have that relationship built up with your organization to really feel comfortable saying that. Also, it's really important to say that because you're protecting the organization in the process. So it was a fun conversation. I think the audience really liked it. They got into the funness of it, the enjoyment, and of course I had a great time with it.
Well, tell us about that big gold belt. What was that about?
Well, the big gold belt is the Oklahoma CISO Championship. We have this competition in Oklahoma, and it was something we started a year or so back. And it was about really highlighting CISO skills. And when you go to a conference, a lot of times you'll have a hacking test, or you have a capture the flag, or a lock picking, or whatever. But there wasn't really anything for CISOs to really showcase the skill sets the CISOs do. So some CISOs in Oklahoma, we got together and we decided, you know what, we wanted to do something that really highlights our skill sets and the skill sets we do. And we bought a big gold wrestling championship belt, and we put CISO on the bottom of it, and we've been competing for it back and forth over the last year or so. We've got another one coming up soon, and it's a lot of fun, and it really raises a lot of good questions on people. It creates good conversation. So it's other than the fact that it weighs about 12 pounds and hauling it around a conference all day long kind of sucks, but otherwise it's a great experience.
Well, just to give everybody a rundown what's happening here at the FutureCon cybersecurity event, we put this event on in 29 cities across North America. Today we're in St. Louis, which is FutureCon. It's our corporate office, so we're always excited to be here. We have about 29 sponsors here today, about 200 live attendees and another 200 virtual attendees. And we always partner with a lot of the nonprofits. And one of the nonprofits that we have here today is We See Women in Cybersecurity. And I have Michelle Sickberg, who is right behind us, who's going to come in. Come on over, Michelle, and let's talk to Michelle and find out how the event's going for her today and find out a little bit about the St. Louis chapter of We See. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kim. Hi, and thank you. That was an awesome presentation earlier today. I want to talk later on.
Okay.
So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about you and your career and what you're currently doing, your role.
Sure. So I am a business security officer at Equifax. I've been there just shortly over 2 years. I support the workforce solutions side of the business. Both the operations and our center of excellence. I work daily, not only with my business partners, but also with our clients as well. So customer facing and business facing. Yeah.
And how long have you been there?
I've been there a little over 2 years. And then prior to that, I was with Citi for about 20 years.
So it's so great. Like, I've been putting on these events for 20 plus years. And back in the day, you barely see any women at these type conferences. So it's so amazing what you're doing for the community. Tell us a little bit about We Sees and what it stands for and how things are going here in St. Louis.
Sure. So We and you say you have the sis at the end, like sister,
Okay.
is Women in Cybersecurity, and we are out here just looking to retain and promote women in cybersecurity, because like you said, you don't see a lot of us at these security conferences. I know when I started back moving into cybersecurity in 2006, I would come to one of these conferences, and it was almost like I felt like a record screech. It's like screech when I would walk in the room, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm the nearly solo woman at most of these events. So I'm really passionate about promoting, supporting, and championing women in security. I think it's really important. I think it's not only important for women to have that opportunity, but also for our field. We have so many open roles. The talent is dwindling, and there's a lot of intelligent individuals out there just waiting to fill some of these roles. And this is a funny story, Kim, because I think it was you who I mentioned at one of the conferences. I may have sent you a little message, and I said, I'm not seeing any women as your keynote speakers, or I'm not seeing any women on your panel. And then Kim says, well, come join us. And I went, no, I can't do it. So, and then I had a problem with that, and I think organizations like WeSys, and there's a plethora out there. Organizations like WeSys help us foster and network those relationships with other women, talk about situations like public speaking, or being more confident in your role, and other opportunities that you have within the organization or your potential field. So one, Kim, thank you for pushing me to come on and be like, hey, you should speak, because I have at a number of things, which I think has been great. And WeSys, we're really excited for you to have us here and help us promote, and hopefully find some more members.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that, because I get beat up on LinkedIn for not having enough women on our panels and our
Sorry
speakers.
about that.
And like just last week, I had somebody that said, no, I can't do it. And if you guys, I'm sorry, but the staff behind us is really loud. If you could ask them to tone, they're breaking down some tables. We are at a live event. I'm trying to keep the noise back. And of course, the staff comes and breaks down right when our show starts. But at any rate, last week I had asked someone, I was looking for some help. I won't say what city. And the woman said, no, I can't do it, but you really need more women on your panel. And I'm like, oh. And then I had another woman, and just out of Seattle, that was like, oh my gosh, I was so afraid to do it. But she's like, I love your shows and I love what you're doing. So I told my husband, I'm just going to do it. And she had the time of her life. So
that's great. That's an awesome story. Yeah, it's important, one, to have more sponsors like you, more folks out in the field champion and trying to get women and pushing them. Sometimes it just takes a little nudge, right?
It does.
We know what we're talking about. We love to talk. We're great communicators. So,
well, sometimes it can be intimidating, because you think we still have 80% of our crowd is men. But I think the men in cyber are really supportive of women, 100%. More women in cyber. And how, Michelle, would you say for the next generation coming up, how do we make it more attractive for the next generation get into cyber?
So, I think there's still this like stigma of like, cyber is super complicated. You need like a mathematics degree. You need to be that person that's sitting in the dungeon, coding or something. I think it's really it's smart for us to get out there and let people know that security runs the gamut. Like it's from GRC, it's from coding, it's from network security, it's banking, different fields. Like it's in the skill set that you may have could match one of those particular pillars. And it's not just, you're not just going to sit down and pen test for the rest of your life. You can go run GRC, you can look at compliance, you could do pen testing, you could do coding, you could do app security. There's so much, and the field's not decreasing, I don't think. There's a lot of talk about AI, but our jobs are still going to be here. We have, I think, 377,000 open jobs in the U.S., I think, as of 2022. So the work's there and the money's there.
So it's interesting. I don't know, you probably heard me talk about Jonathan when I was introducing him with his bio. He was the CISO at the University of Tulsa for many, many years. How many years? Jonathan's going to have to take the mic for a minute because you guys have to share a mic, but I don't want you to go, Michelle.
So I was CISO for 9 years, but I was there working security for 22-ish years. So it was a very long time.
So one of the things he did, and I mentioned this several times on the show, is he took students that were in the cybersecurity program or engineer, and he built out his SOC team. But tell us about that, and tell us, I saw he brought them on the show, and there was some females on that show. So tell us how you did that.
And I want to clarify something, because one of the things that I have found when I started the help desk all those years ago, all of my staff were students. And I had a good mix of every kind of student across the board, whether it was engineering or arts and sciences or business. And what I found, honestly, was for help desk and for that beginning front-end support, non-engineering students made the best IT people because they were helping people and they were engaging people. And in fact, to this day, for my job descriptions, for my positions for security, I put on there that they've got to have 1 to 2 years of either fast food or retail experience. Because number one, I want them to have that experience of working with people and engaging with people. And I want people to feel proud. If they I did 6 years at McDonald's when I was in high school and the beginning of college. Those skill sets are very valuable. And I don't want people to not feel like that time that they spend in fast food or retail or wherever is not valuable to their career in cybersecurity, because it all translates through. So I bring in these students from all across campus. I could teach them security stuff. That was easy. It was the personal interaction that I really needed. And that's where you learn it from these other experiences in life. I've always had great group of students work for me. The inaugural team that we had for the SOC, they were kind of handpicked by the faculty because I had to reach out, but I had students from all over campus. It could have been cybersecurity, it could have been business. They came in, they brought their different mindsets, their different viewpoints. And the thing about it is they may not have liked every piece of what the SOC was, like going through logs or whatever, but we had a heck of a SOC team and they worked well. And now I get to see these students out speaking at B-sides and speaking out in the environment, and they've told me they would have never done it had they not been in the SOC getting inside that environment.
Another great testimony is there's a lady here today, and I won't say her name, but she came last year and volunteered at a FutureCon event. She was just getting into cyber, and today she's back as an attendee. And Mark Ashworth, who's the CISO over at First Bank, hired her, and now she's on his team. And she was just getting into cyber. So doing things like that, finding these different events, asking if you can come volunteer, that is a great way to get in the industry. Yes. So, so it's great, Michelle, to see leaders like you. I mean, I love having a diverse group of people on our panel, and Michelle is going to be on our panel today, which you guys can catch all of our past speakers. If you're not signed up for the event, we have all of our speakers on the YouTube channel, on the FutureCon YouTube channel. So you should definitely try to catch the CISO panel that we have today. If you're in St. Louis, it's not too late. You can still come out. But Michelle, thanks for stopping by.
You're
I hope the event's been going well, and we'll see you on our panel in about an hour or so.
See you soon.
Okay, thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
So Jonathan, tell me a little bit more now. You're not at the University of Tulsa. What are you doing now?
Well, I like to say I'm doing the same job. I'm just doing it for a lot more people. I do a lot of vCISO work, and one of the things that I really like doing is I do a lot of CISO mentorship. So we have CISO support services that we created when I came on, and it was to help CISOs either do the job because they didn't have the staff or skill sets or something, but also help mentor them and help them understand what their role is in the organization, how to protect the organization, how to do a variety of things. So I get to do that. So I get to see a lot of what the CISOs are dealing with out in these organizations. And that's one of the reasons why I did the presentation like that today, because this was the stuff that we are otherwise dealing with day to day out in these organizations. So I wanted to highlight that.
Well, that's awesome. Before we get into more of that, I see one of our sponsors here. I have Mike from Track. Come on over, Mike, and talk to us. Have you met Jonathan Kimmett?
I haven't.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Good to meet you, Jonathan. Mike.
Yep. And introduce yourself to the crowd.
Sure. Hey, guys. My name is Mike Starr. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Tract. We're focused on the vulnerability and patch management space, specifically focused on human condition of fear.
And so Mike is signed up for all of our shows in 2023. 24, we're in 24. And so how's everything? How's today's show been going? And tell us a little bit about your experience at the FutureCon shows.
Yeah, I mean, this one is probably one of our better ones for sure. We've got a bunch of scans, and we only scan people that we think we can actually help. We try not to be the vendor that bogs people down. So we say to people like, we'll send you some information if you tell us to pound sand, right? Yeah, right. Like we try to be fairly open. Like I don't like being bogged by vendors either. So we try to treat people like we want to be treated. But yeah, this one's been really good. We won't really know how good everything is until a couple weeks from now when we have account signups. But I mean, Tract has been largely built on, foundationally built on FutureCon attendees. Yeah, it's been fantastic. We started, I think, in February of last year and went to every show except for Canada. No shade to Canada, just we haven't been to Canada. And yeah, as a result, like we ended a platform launched in March of last year. We closed last year with 105 unique logos on the platform. And so far this year, I think at least this month, we've signed up 30 new accounts, mostly from FutureCon, and then we run ads. But yeah.
Well, tell everyone like where, because I have a funny story to wrap up with, but tell them exactly how you spell your company name so they can find you.
Yeah, it's TRACKD.
So we just found out one of the things we do at the end of our events, we wrap up with an open bar and pizza. And all of a sudden, what my marketing director, Heather, was like, did you see what Tract's doing? They're doing pizza reviews. Tell us about your little pizza reviews.
Yeah. So my marketing guy, Jeff, and I aren't very good with social media. We kind of hate it. And our board and investors were like, hey, you need a social presence. And I was like, well, how do we do something that's kind of like off the cuff and on brand for like kind of the smirkiness that we are. And Dave Portney does this like pizza 1 bite review, bites the thing. And we said like, that would be really interesting to do for hotel pizza, because we're at every one of these. And so it's modulated for hotel pizza, like in hotel pizza is notably shitty. And so we do it every time. And yeah, so you can follow us at Tract on LinkedIn or Tract Security on LinkedIn. And you can see our reviews of every city.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now I'm watching Dave Portney like crazy. We're trying to get him to follow the Tract pizza reviews. But so now you're going to see it got heavily noisy. And I don't know if our guys can do a shot of our trade show floor and just kind of show everyone that people are coming around, just kind of pan the area. Our attendees just came out of break. It's the afternoon break. It gets a little lighter, but we'll probably talk to a few of our attendees. But Mike, thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll let you get back to your booth so you can find some more scans.
Thanks, Kim.
All right, thanks, Mike. So anyway, yeah, as you can see throughout our day, one of the things we do is we have speakers that go on all throughout the day, and then we have about 30 sponsors, and we give them our attendees ample time to come around and see what all these different vendors are doing and what's going on with them. So I'm hoping to be able to grab an attendee and see how the day's going, but I don't see anyone that wants to just come on up. Let me try to grab someone. Do you know who that is?
So what we should have done is grab some of the swag and thrown it at people.
Can we talk to some attendees? We're streaming live.
You want to be on a stream? Come on.
Come on over and
Yeah,
tell
come
us how
on.
the show is going today. Help me find a few attendees that want to talk, maybe. Okay.
Doing
Well,
well.
first of all, like
absolutely.
introduce,
That's a pretty cool story. So I got a microphone
Yeah,
there.
you're gonna be on the mic.
Oh man.
tell us who you are, what company you're from.
All right. So I'm Joseph Gallagher from Edward Jones. So I've been there for about 5 years and part of their threat vulnerability management team. So again, trying to come here, learn about new companies and everything. So again, I'm only 5 years in, right out of college. So always trying to
Awesome.
learn about new things. So oh yeah, I love it. Yeah. So I had a couple internships previously to Edward Jones when I was in college, and figured Edward Jones is the best place for me. So huge family, feels like great culture. So yeah.
And you've been having a good time at the show?
I have been actually, yes.
How
yeah.
have the speakers and the vendors
Speakers,
been?
yes, speakers. I mean, all the reps out here from all these great companies and everything. I know Edward Jones actually uses a couple of these companies out here today. So yeah, great seeing everyone. Great seeing everyone. Actually meeting their names. You know, putting a face to a name because some of the reps that are out here are actually working with us. So yeah.
Well, it's so interesting because there's so many. We still have a ton of people that they just watch virtually.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in the IT industry that don't want to come out. They kind of like the hybrid at home, which I get it. But sometimes when you come, it's just such a great way to meet other people in your community. And
Couldn't agree more.
you just have to push yourself and come out and
Yep.
do it. So
I'm one of those generations where like we're right on the cusp of I don't want to talk to anyone to versus I'd rather come see everyone face to face. So luckily my parents raised me right and was able to come out here and have no problem starting a conversation or being on.
well, obviously, we just pulled you right off
Yeah.
the floor with impromptu. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you
Yeah, not a problem.
coming by. All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you. All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So, anyway, so a little bit more, we were talking about what you do, and we were talking about one thing that's kind of funny. I remember talking to you on the on when you were on the show as my guest. You were telling me how the vendor floor kind of horrifies you as a CISO. Tell our audience why that is.
You know, and I actually felt it earlier when I came in. Of course, I came in early, you know, getting ready, and I walked through the vendor floor because I wanted to see if I knew anybody, and it's really hard not to duck your head, keep straight, and not talk to anybody because it's just natural. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of friendly people, and that's
sorry,
the thing.
I'm reading our messages.
No,
yeah.
go for it.
Okay.
So it's a lot of friendly people, and sometimes it's really hard to break through that. This person wants to sell me something versus this person wants to help me, and so that was always that balance. And you know, I've been to big ones. I've been to Black Hat and DEF CON vendor floors and all kinds of different things, and it can be very scary.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it often, then you kind of lose that capability of, okay, I can deal with this. I can answer questions and I can get engaged. And a lot of times it truly is they want to learn more about us or about things, and just talking with them is what you need to do.
It is. And, you know, speaking of RSA, had you ever went to one of our Bourbon Banter events?
I haven't.
So for those of you, we're going to have a couple more attendees come on, but you guys check out our website because we're going to have an event. It's a bourbon event that's out at RSA. Check out our website. But I'm going to invite 2 more attendees to come on up. Come on up, ladies. We love seeing more ladies at our FutureCon events.
So please state your name.
Pass the mic and we'll let you both.
My name is Renita Rhodes.
And let us know where you're from, what company you're from.
Hi, I'm from Wells Fargo. Hi, I'm Parrish from Total Quality Business Solutions.
And now tell us what you do. It's so nice to see so many women here today because if you know Michelle, right? Yes. I was telling Michelle that I've been doing these events for 20 plus years. And there used to be a time I would come to these events and you'd see maybe 3 women at an event. And so look at you guys. I mean, you are the VP. VP of audit. Yeah, I mean, we're not just seeing attendees, we're seeing C-level women here at this event today. So that's pretty amazing. Tell us a little bit about your career and how you got to where you are, and then we're going to go to, I can't read that far, and I can't hear you over here.
Parrish.
Oh, Parrish. Yeah, I've met Parrish in the past. Yeah, so
I actually started out as a developer. So I did PeopleSoft HR, PeopleSoft Financials, and I was developing that for like 7 years. Then I moved over to IT audit, and then once I worked in IT audit for about 8 years, I tend to I need more, and so I decided to move into cybersecurity. And working in cybersecurity, I was kind of working on the GRC team. And okay, I was like, well, I kind of got this now. So I did go back to audit so that I was able to see more cybersecurity. But it's cybersecurity audit. So I'm able to see a lot of all of cybersecurity. Some of these vendors here are some of our customers. So
well, and I was asking Michelle, and I'll turn it over to Parrish in a minute, is what, how do we make it more attractive to the next generation of women coming up, women that are in school? How do we, grow our women, in cyber more?
that's the question I've been asking because I also am an adjunct professor at Periscope and Maryville. And I do try to talk to the women, whether it's younger women that are students of mine, like, hey, come into cybersecurity, you can do this. I just try to talk to them and let them know that women can actually do this, especially women of color, because as you know, women, we tend to have the imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, when it's people of color, they tend to have it more so. So they tend to think that they can't do it. I'm like, you can do this. It's not hard. So.
And, we were mentioning earlier, I get a lot of negative feedback for not having enough women on my panels and speakers. I try, let me tell you, it's just the women don't want to do it. They feel intimidated, but I've pushed a lot of them and they love when they do it. So I'm going to be after you two next. But tell us a little bit about your career path and how you got to, and what do you do you're at Charter and you're a senior IT lead?
Correct.
That's amazing.
Right now, I've been in IT for over 23 years.
Wow.
I too started out as a software developer and kind of morphed into various different roles under, the software development lifecycle. So I mainly worked in ERP, enterprise resource planning. So basically, most of the internal customers were our customers. So I pretty much touched everything under the IT umbrella. Most recently, I've worked with converting the Charter's general ledger system from JDE to SAP. And so there was a lot of good experience there, getting to learn like how a very big project of that size is converted to, converting the financials over just in watching the transition of the system, and seeing the progression and the success behind all of the various different teams within our immediate group. We had the admin team, the security team, the development team, working alongside various different technologies. So that was a huge success for me, a very pivotal point in my career. And so right now I have marked also into managing my own company, Total Quality Business Solutions, which is also a consultant firm. So I do freelance work as well. And the question you asked about getting more women involved, it's just kind of mentoring, going back to like the communities, having various speaking engagements, talking to like the youth and particularly young women, and trying to get them engaged and take on more IT roles so that they won't be so intimidated, because IT in itself is intimidating to most people. They think it's very hard, like anything dealing with IT. So just kind of going back, staying engaged, speaking at events, and going back and giving back to the community.
Well, that's amazing. And have you guys been having a good time at the event today?
Yes. And actually, I pulled her over here because she didn't think she could come. I'm like, yeah, come over here.
That's what I do. That's what I have to do for women to come onto the panel. I'm like, You can do it. You can do it, and you're both are great. Congratulations to all your success, and
Thank you.
so and I love your colorful green.
Thank you. Yes, Kelly Green is. I brought this because it was easy today, and I didn't have to do a lot of work.
Well, you both look amazing, and it's
Thank you.
good to see you, guys. And thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the conference.
You too.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And I have one more person from Force Scout that should be here. I don't know. Oh, here he is. Come on over.
There he is. He was hiding like I tried to do.
So I have Force Scout as our platinum sponsor today, and I'm going to let Anthony introduce himself and tell us a little bit about Force Scout and how his event been going.
Sure. I think the event's going great. Lots of good interactions. Curious people wanting to secure their networks. So, it's the perfect place to have good conversations. So Force Scout, we have been helping our customers know what's on their network for 20 years. And not just know what's there, but also, secure their networks and, take that knowledge and apply it in a way that helps them not just lock everything out, but to do it in a smart way, right? We're not just NAC, we're a visibility and monitoring and control platform. We said this year we're bringing the light to our networks, to your customers' networks. So we think that's really resonating with folks as we talk about risks and the threats that are out there and what we can do to help out with them.
Well, we love Force Scout. They've been sponsoring our events for a long time, and we appreciate your support of our events. And the show's been going well for you today.
Yeah, lots of great folks in the industry that we're meeting with. There's folks that are at the C level all the way down to engineers, and honestly, that's where I'm an engineer at heart. If you look at me on LinkedIn, it's engineer first and above all things. I'm an engineer, so those are the people I want to talk to, and there's lots of them here today. So
yeah, so it's not. That's a great thing about FutureCon. You're not just coming. People think that these type of events it's just sales. It's not. I mean, people get their CPE credits here. They come for education. Our vendors that do their presentations, they have to be educational, not a product pitch. This is all about education, networking, and having fun. So. Right. So I'm love engineers doing our sessions instead of marketing.
Yeah, I've been an engineer for going out like 12 years now, so it's definitely my home. It's where I first go to, and if something great comes out of it, awesome. And a lot of times that's just knowledge, and I love that. Right, the sharing of the knowledge, helping people always do better. You can't beat that.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and I appreciate it. I didn't mean to pull you out of your table, but I wanted to get you over here.
This is great as well. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, we'll enjoy the rest of the show, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
So, Jonathan, have you been around? Have you talked to any of these vendors, or are you too afraid to go out on the showroom floor?
So the normal Jonathan was very afraid and therefore didn't talk to anyone, but I have talked to several people, and I was hoping to see some of our partners, Alias partners here, and I didn't see any, so I'm going to go poke them. It's like, hey, you need to support this event.
Who do you guys partner?
Oh, we do things like Fortinet, and we do Armor Point. It's just the different ones that we use with our customers. So I think I'm going to go back and poke at them, and it's like, hey, we need to get together and come up here and support these events, because you have these events all over. So I mean, you hit almost every major city. What, 20?
We have about 29. Yeah,
29. Wow.
Yeah. So we don't come to Tulsa, but
yes,
I'm going to
try to get you here.
To get us there.
Yeah.
So now later today we have a CISO panel, and you're moderating that panel. Tell us a little bit. Here's our people. You'll see Michelle that was already on there. Renita Rhodes. She was sitting right here. I think that was Renita.
Yes, that was Renita.
I couldn't hear her because it's so loud in here, but hopefully you guys can hear. Andre Van Clavern from
Clavern,
Equifax is
yep.
and then Mark Ashworth. And Andre's right there. That's Andre right there. He's sitting on our panel. If I could get his attention, I'd try to. You want to ask Andre if he wants to come over?
Well, see, don't give him a choice. Just make him come over. But
Andre,
I think it's going to be a great panel this afternoon.
Come on over and talk to us, Andre. You're gonna be streaming live soon. So, Andre, we're doing our podcast on Voice America. It's my weekly podcast. Jonathan is your moderator for the event today. But we want to just say hi to you. We're trying to pull some of our attendees. Tell our audience out there who you are, what you do, and.
Oh, wow. I like
Sorry to catch you off guard, but.
Wow, I just got pulled in. Yeah, so hopefully you can hear me. Andre Van Claveren. I run our security advisory services program for Equifax Global. We're a internal facing consultancy group is what I like to explain ourselves as. A team of subject matter experts, security solutions architects. We make ourselves available throughout the company to help all of our product teams or engineering teams design and build our products secure from the get-go. So it's a shift left, sometimes shift left twice concept, right? So that's who we are. We also have touch points in our SOC. Our team basically is, our mission for our team is to engage security, help make security part of our DNA so that our engineers, our architects, our product teams start thinking like we do so that they start producing secure systems right up front.
Well, Michelle came and sat with us a little while ago, and I know Michelle got you in to sitting on the panel today. So
yes, she did. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. And how's the show been so far?
This is my first FutureCon.
Is it really?
Yeah,
wow.
And I'm actually very impressed. Matter of fact, I've been to a few conferences this year, and so far this is knocking it out of the park.
Well, I like to hear
lots
that.
Of really good, top-notch vendors. Many of them I'm very familiar with, so I can almost vouch for them, but I can't. So no, a great set of people. We need this kind of engagement in our communities to bring people in and educate them, get exposed to not just products to help them do what they need to do, but the quality speakers. So far, all of them not top notch. And I'm not just saying that because I'm standing in front of you, but well done. Yeah, no, good quality teachers. I'm very much an awareness person. That's how I think we're going to win this game. Is bring up people's awareness. Security is complex, or at least it seems, well, it is for sure. And it scares people, right? But there are some things, some foundational things that a lot of people, individuals, communities, companies can do to basically eliminate those low-hanging fruit, right? We'll talk maybe a little bit about that in the panel later. But to do that, you need to build awareness in those people, those communities, those companies. So that when we tell them what they need to do, it's not just us telling them what to do. They now understand the why, and then they get that buy-in. They understand why they're being asked to do it because they understand the consequences of not doing it. So it's all right. It's psychology, but that awareness really goes a long way. I help run the OWASP chapter here in St. Louis, and I very much use that tactic. That's why I'm part of OWASP. Is they're all about awareness and education, and providing guidance and everything everyone needs to know to, design and build.
Well, I'm happy.
Please make your way back to the general session room.
Our audience knows we're at a live event. So, as a C-level, I was talking to Jonathan about this when he had been on the show. He helps me co-host this show that's weekly. We were talking about being on the showroom floor. A lot of C-levels don't like to walk around to the vendors because, you guys are like a piece of steak on a platter,
Sure.
So it was nice to see you standing over there. How are you about that? Do you like to go and talk to the people that are maybe new and you haven't seen their name?
I do, but I'm also very, I'm a people person, so I'm comfortable with walking up to total strangers and just saying hi and getting to know them. But yeah, for here, absolutely. Especially if it's a vendor I've never heard before, it's a concept or a product I've not seen before. Absolutely. The more I know, the more I can help everyone else.
And I think that's really a big thing is the reasons why I actually do like coming to the vendor floors when I can get that mode in is like today, I've seen some vendors here that I've never talked to before. I've seen their name, but I've never talked to them. So I don't know what their product does. I don't know how they can help my business. And for me, I want to know all the new stuff coming out. I want to know, hey, that solves a particular solution that I can either help with my clients or help someone I'm working with. So it really is, there's a lot of benefit of going to the vendor floor and just going and talking to people.
Absolutely, and I'll expand on that a little bit during our panel too. That's an example of why it's important to do that. No, I'm very comfortable with talking to vendors. I've met some that I've never met before. I've met some, to your point, that I've actually worked with, but never met them in person because my company, uses a lot of vendors and products. So no, it's great. I like coming to these events. Networking is important, and networking with vendors is important. Know who to call, right, when you need something. So yeah, I'm very comfortable and I enjoy it.
Are you guys familiar with Richard Steenan? Do you know who Richard Steenan is? He writes that book. It's the CyberSecurity. He rates all the vendors. He comes out with it every single year, and it has every single vendor that's out there. And I mean, they stand in line out at RSA to get his signature. He was on the show last week, and if you don't know who he is, you should look up the show because he does it's his security yearbook, and he's been putting it out for 3 or 4 years, and it just kind of, and then there's more he does, but off the cuff, I can't, but he's an analyst. He came originally from Forrester, and then he was at Gartner, so now he has his own. But I just wonder, like, do you use resources like that to help instead of talking to vendors? Would you rather talk to them, or are there places you go to get your information to make sure that you're really connecting with the right vendor?
So my answer to that is the answer is yes, and I'm actually going to go look that up. I didn't get your episode last week, but one of the things that I've always found is I like vendors who are part of the community. So if they're speaking at chapter events, they're here speaking, they're engaging, those are the ones that I want to work with. So because I want to build a relationship with the person that helps me build a relationship with the vendor. So I have always, that was my standing rule when I was at the University of Tulsa. Any vendor that spoke at like ISSA or InfraGard or any of the chapter meetings, I'd immediately give them an hour's worth of time. Just personal at TU, they could come in and talk with me because I wanted to give back to them what they were giving to the community, the industry. And I felt like that was a great relationship because I got to know them a little bit. I got to engage with them a little bit at the ISSA before they came in to sell me something. So those are the things I really like, vendors who are part of the industry, who are part of the engagement of the people. We had one vendor once. He was out of Chicago or out of Colorado. He always came down to Oklahoma, almost every single event. He traveled probably 10 times a year to come to Oklahoma. Anytime he ever needed anything, I was right there for him because he was giving back to us as much as he was taking from us.
Wow. I don't interact with vendors nearly that much, but I do know that yes, we both engage the vendors directly. But when it comes to like vetting vendors, third-party risk is a very big current threat. And so we will absolutely use third-party sources and basically do a background check on the vendor. And we'll use any sources that are available. So sources like that are good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing like directly engaging the vendor. Having bake-offs is always fun. But yeah, addressing third-party risk involves both direct interaction with the vendors, but also doing those background checks. Asking other parties, even other customers of theirs, how they like the vendor. It gets a little dicey, but yeah, we have an entire group that does that for that reason.
Well, that's, I'm sure, better than finding out your cell phone and calling you like in the middle of this interview right now, or which you guys probably get all the time. So this is a great way, for, the C-levels to get to know the vendors. I always wrap up the panel. I kind of stopped doing it because the answers became the same. I used to ask all the people on the panel, all these sponsors would love to get in front of you. How do they do that? And you guys always say the same thing. Get to know me, get to know my product, don't cold call me. Don't, put a meeting on my schedule. It was like, I think I did that question for a year and it was the same answers. And I was like, I think they know, it's tough. They
They're
have
learning.
a tough job, but you guys do too. So thanks, Andre. I really appreciate you. Sorry, we just kind of pulled you off the floor.
That's okay. I appreciate the
Yeah, it
opportunity
was
to
fun
talk
to
to you. I
have
actually
you.
came over here to see what you guys are doing. So
Yeah,
this
we've
is-
never
this is
done
nice.
this live from a show before, so we thought it would be fun. And yeah, it's been really fun. I was hesitant to do it, but it's been awesome to get to talk to our attendees, and I can't wait to see you on the panel in about an hour. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna read my notes.
all right, thanks, Andre.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I think we have some questions. Let me
Okay.
see. Oh, she was just telling us that it's the yearbook. It's the
Okay. Yeah,
cybersecurity yearbook. So you'll have to check out that episode.
I'll go check that out because
Yeah.
that sounds really interesting. And it's interesting because there's a lot of vendors that come in for a short time and they're gone, and
or they're bought up. A lot of them,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's what the show was about is cybersecurity consolidating.
Yes.
And a lot of it is. We're seeing a lot of these people that you see on the floor. And a year from now, they're just going to be eaten up
Yep.
by the big guys, and which is good for them.
Yeah.
That's their mission.
So I'll tell you something kind of funny. I at TU, I would collect all the business cards from everyone I met, and I did it for two reasons. Number one, because it was really hard to remember people at conferences and such, but number two, I was actually evaluating their business card.
Oh, that's
if it was a plastic card or a thick card, or anyway, it was just my own little OCD thing. But one of the things that I found out is people would change from one vendor to another to another to another, either because they got bought out or people move around. And so I had this one guy, I knew who he was, I knew his name, but I couldn't remember what company he was from. But I knew that I had talked with him, I had a good engagement. So I went and I got all of his cards, and it's like, oh, I'm not sure which company he's with right now. So, but it's I'll tell you, it's good to engage people and really talk to them because you're making connections. And in my talk, I was talking about community, building that community, building those people you work with day to day, and it really does build a trust factor.
It does. Just like this event, like I'm here in St. Louis, I live here. There's attendees that have been coming to this event this is my second company, but they've been coming to this event for 20 plus years. We're still all around, and it's such a community here, but it's really like that in all of my cities. It's really fun. It's hard for me to go to all 29 events, and I'm trying not to go to all of them, but I
Right.
definitely go to 3/4 of them. But there's cities that I miss the community
Yep.
of seeing, in all of those cities.
Well, I'll tell you, I have met more people through you, either the radio show or at these events, or we're on a panel together.
Mhm.
I mean, I've got a lot of people that I engage with in the community because of you, and because everyone's like, Kim, or we're connected with Kim, or I saw you on the show. So you have been a huge influence on the industry. Even just the short time that I've been around
That's
with you,
awesome.
just a few
Thanks.
years, but it's been amazing because you're kind of that center point, that focal point for a lot of the industry in this area, well, across the entire U.S. actually.
And FutureCon's been so great. That was my goal, when I started FutureCon, is to really change it up from what I was doing before. And
Yep.
it's just, with the radio show, that's been a big
Right.
thing. So I love people that show up at the show and they're like, oh, I've seen you on the radio show, or I saw you virtually, So it's been a really fun time, and it's been
Yeah.
fun getting to know you. And Jonathan, as I said, he's really saved me because it's really hard for me to, do this show every Friday. Actually, someone on my team tomorrow is Omar. He is actually hosting the show tomorrow because you and I are
We're here.
I'm actually traveling somewhere else tomorrow, non-business related. But yeah, we have a great show we're doing 2 this week. So We probably have about 3 or 4 minutes left before we wrap up. Is there any last words that you want to say to our, listeners out there?
I would say if you've never gone to a FutureCon event, I mean, when you think of the big conferences like RSA and Black Hat and even things like B-Sides, they can truly get overwhelming. Just the amount of people, and it's all great people and great talks and such. But with FutureCon, it's like it's concentrated. You have great people, you have great speakers up there, but you also have so many people that's just here to help that it really does. It's a great event because of that.
Well, and it's, RSA, those shows are great, but you have 600 and something vendors at 2 huge showroom floors. Your feet are hurting within the first half of the day, and they're fun, but people, what they like about this is we usually cap it out at 30 vendors. We don't want more than that.
Yep.
We want just enough. We have this fun little bingo card that you all can see, and it has all our vendors, and our vendors are amazing. They give away Nintendo Switches, they give away prizes anywhere for all kinds of gift cards, drones, all kinds of Yeti bags. I mean, all you have to do is go talk to them, get their initials, and we're going to be pulling about 20 prizes right after the panel. But with that being said, Jonathan, this was fun. We've never done this from a live show. We'll have to do it again. And thank you, everyone that tuned in. I hope the noise level wasn't too bad. We are going to wrap it up here. I hope you all have the great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And thank you, Jonathan. And
thank you,
everyone. Stay secure and safe, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.